So for today's news, we have a cruise passenger from the United States that is facing a minimum of 12 years in prison for seemingly making a simple and honest mistake while visiting a Caribbean port for just a couple hours. Many of you will be understandably divided on this topic because while what this man did was clearly an accident and a mistake, this country is very strict and clear on its laws and punishments for this specific offense. Also, a Royal Caribbean cruise was canceled while the passengers were on board. This story is going to be a reminder to all of you that no matter what your favorite cruise line is, how reputable it is, any ship could have problems at any moment. So there has been understandably a lot of buzz, noise, and conversations revolving around an EMS professional, man in the medical field, a 31-year-old man by the name of Tyler Winrick from Virginia. Apparently at the end of this month here in April, he decided to jump on a cruise. On April 24th, he was calling or visiting a port over in Turks and Caicos, Grand Turk, when upon him going through a security checkpoint, it was discovered that he had 2 bullets in his bag. From that point, he was arrested, and now he's facing a minimum of 12 years in prison. And what's crazier is that this man is also a father. It's a very disturbing situation. I'm going to play a news clip here for you, and then we'll go over some further details after.
Tonight, 30-year-old Tyler Winrick is the latest American behind bars in Turks and Caicos, arrested after 2 bullets were found in his backpack as he was about to board a cruise ship Saturday. The Virginia EMT and father is now facing the potential of a mandatory minimum prison sentence of up to 12 years.
I feel like as a very honest mistake that 12 years is absurd.
His wife, Jerry Ann, says he'd been on the island for less than a day.
My son's only 18 months old, and I just don't want him to grow up without a dad.
There are now at least 4 American tourists potentially facing lengthy prison sentences and a 5th who served nearly 6 months after what they say was mistakenly bringing ammo in their luggage while on vacation. 40-year-old father of 2 Ryan Watson is now out of jail on bail. He was arrested at the airport April 12th when security found 4 rounds of hunting ammo in his carry-on.
Did you check the bag before you packed it?
We did. I opened it up and kind of give it a little shimmy. Didn't see anything, didn't hear anything.
The TSA is now acknowledging its officers missed the ammo when his bag was screened at the checkpoint in Oklahoma City April 7th.
It was my mistake. It was very innocent. And, I just pray that compassion and consideration, because there was 0 criminal intent.
Following our report Tuesday, the State Department reissued a warning to carefully check your luggage for stray ammunition.
The primary point that is being brought up throughout this whole situation and the others that have taken place is whether there was criminal intent or not. However, on the other side of things, you have Turks and Caicos saying, well, this is our law. We are very clear about this. Even if you look at the U.S. Department when it comes to the travel sector, they even talk about Turks and Caicos specifically, saying that you will face a minimum of 12 years if you break the law by way of them bringing weapons on board, or in this case, ammunition. Naturally, you, myself, as well as everyone involved will look at this from, I want to say, a moral standpoint. He had no criminal intent. It's an honest mistake. Yes, we are going to look at it from that perspective naturally and from, I guess, an emotional standpoint. However, if a law was broken in some place like Dubai, or even last year, what was that situation with the WNBA player Brittany Griner, and she got arrested for having a little bit of Mary J or something or other of that. But the reality is, whenever you go to a foreign country, the laws are the laws, and should you break any of those laws, obviously, yes, you are potentially going to be punished. That's why it's important before you go to a foreign country, or in this case, a foreign port, if you're on a cruise, and yes, you should read up a little bit on the laws and make sure you are not doing anything that is potentially illegal that will get you arrested. What's heartbreaking about this situation is that this man, Tyler, is also a father of an infant, an 18-month-old boy. Let's say he does end up getting the minimum sentence of 12 years in prison over in Grand Turk. By the time he gets out, his son, that is an infant now, will be a teenager. By the way, if nobody's gonna say it, I will. That wife there, she seems a little too calm in this situation. Now, given maybe she has had time to process everything that's going on, maybe at this point emotionally, it just doesn't feel real to her. However, if it was me and that was my wife getting sentenced to 12 years or vice versa, I was getting sentenced to 12 years for something like this, I would want my wife to be distraught. However, all jokes aside here, I do understand that especially in a place like the United States, people have the right to bear arms, but if you are traveling To me, I would just say maybe as a tip to avoid these types of situations, maybe you could have a firearm and ammunition bag and not confuse it or use the same bag for travel. To me, it's common sense. However, we do understand in this world, common sense is not common, but also people are going to people. They'll make mistakes. It's understandable. Obviously, this story is, of course, still developing. I will keep an eye on it to see how it plays out. Hopefully, all of this does work in Tyler's favor, and maybe at the most, you might see some type of penalty fee for bringing 2 bullets over to Turks and Caicos. However, this is a reminder to all of you, especially if you are doing something like carrying something that could be potentially illegal in another country, make sure you thoroughly check your bag. You saw in the video clip, there's a man, he shook his bag and he said nothing was in it, and it got through TSA, and by the time he got to another country, bullets were discovered, and now he's in this giant mess that he could potentially see some jail time. As you can see, 4 people now in just a couple months are now potentially looking at charges. Just avoid that. Next up, a Royal Caribbean cruise to the final frontier, aka Alaska, turned out to be a cruise to nowhere. So back on April 26th, or this past Friday, there was supposed to be a cruise on Royal Caribbean's Radiance of the Seas, launched in 2001, to keep that in mind, over to Alaska. However, when passengers began to board, they were notified that there were some technical difficulties going on with the ship, and it would be delayed as far as it sailing off to start its Alaska cruise over in Vancouver just 2 days. Unfortunately, it would turn out that 48 hours or 2 days was not enough to repair the propulsion damage that was going on with Radiance of the Seas. The passengers were told that they would have to disembark. However, during those 48 hours, they were also not allowed to disembark until they were given the decision that was made in which the ship had its cruise canceled. This was due to the tourist and immigration laws that are over in Canada. So while on board, they were given complimentary Wi-Fi, they were given onboard credit, they were given complimentary drinks, all the things that somebody would want in an event like this. However, after the cruise has been canceled, Royal Caribbean is still heavily compensating all of the passengers. They're giving them a 100% refund. They are giving them a 100% future cruise credit that they could use for any other sailing. They are also getting their flights and all of that reimbursed as well. And I would assume, given that they do have, let's say, either a flight booking with Royal Caribbean or some type of travel insurance. By the way, yes, this is a reminder to always get travel insurance, because you never know when a situation such as this can pop up. Now, one point that I have to bring up, because I hear this literally all the time, and you people can get mad all you want, but there is a rivalry between Carnival Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean. Anytime there's an issue with Carnival Cruise Line, people are very quick to say, especially the loyal to Royals, I'm talking to you, you're quick to say that it's only Carnival ships that break down and have issues. I would just say that this is a testament to Carnival a lot of the times, because Carnival is able to operate with older ships, and most of the time things tend to go pretty well. When it comes to the ship Radiance of the Seas, it is one of Royal Caribbean's older ships, launched in 2001, like I said, and any older ship can potentially have complications. With all of that in mind, you have to say that Royal Caribbean definitely took care of the passengers. I seriously doubt that they were complaining. Yes, it is a big bummer for you to have your cruise, especially an Alaskan cruise. I know a lot of people wait a long time to go on that cruise, a cruise of a lifetime to them, because typically it can be potentially a little bit more pricier than your standard cruise over to the Caribbean. So hopefully they are able to make it up and actually enjoy their cruise over in Alaska. Anyway, this is what we got for today's video. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button on your way out. And of course, if you want to book a cruise, especially those of you out there that need to rebook your Alaska cruise, you can book it with myself or my travel agent sponsors over at Lux Rally, the link of which will be in the description box below, as well as pinned in the comments. I appreciate all of you. I love all of you, and I'll see you later. Take it easy.